Hello and welcome to the NorCal TV show.
Coming up today, we talk to a burlesque dancer and model whose alternative style is putting a new twist on local image.
We'll be chatting with punk rock duo Mouses, whose latest EP is earning them a growing recognition on Teesside.
And they'll be performing at the end of the show. First on the sofa today, a local model who is fast becoming known on Teesside for wild and creative image.
Starting out as a burlesque dancer 5 years ago, this performer's acts have ranged from colourful to the overall dramatic.
So let's welcome into the studio Mademoiselle Boo. Thank you very much for joining us today.
You alright?
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to ask, where did it all start then, burlesque?
Well, it was actually it was on a drunken night out, and my friend was just like, I'm having a party, and I'm going to have burlesque dancers. Will you perform? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like the day after, it was like, oh, what if I agreed to? But it was something I wanted to get into anyway, and I wasn't sure how to go about it. And I wanted to start get into a troupe, but then obviously I'd agreed to this, and I thought, why not? Why not just go for it? Just go for it on my own, see how it goes. And it went really well. And the act that I perform is now what's known as my signature act. I do The Little Mermaid, and I do that to the B-52's Rock Lobster.
Do you have any pre-performance rituals that you go through before each show?
Panic, mostly. I just sort of psych myself up. I still get nervous, and I still sort of talk myself into everything. But once you're in your costume and you sort of have a little bit of a run through of your act in your head, and you're fine. But I do have some acts, like this one I'm going to be doing this one's completely sort of freestyle. I have a beginning and an end, which I know is going to happen. The rest's kind of like sort of made up on the spot, but I have some which are set to the music cues, so I have to sort of stick to those, which are a little bit more difficult, which I get more nervous about because I've got to remember all the moves in my head.
Oh, wow. So do you feel like you kind of have a persona? So you'd sort of get comfortable in the persona once you're all dressed up and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to, even though like a lot of my people in my personal life know me as Boo, there's still like a separation between Mademoiselle Boo and Boo, the burlesque dancer and model, so you have to sort of keep them separately, I think.
Oh, amazing. That must be such a good thing to do for a job, like an amazing career.
It's interesting, I'll give you that, but I mean, like I say, it is still quite nerve-wracking, and you do get really nervous, and it can be a little bit stressful when you're sort of thinking of routines and thinking of finding music. You either sometimes have a piece of music that you want to do it to, but you don't have like a dance, or you have a theme or an idea of a costume, but you don't have a piece of music. And sometimes the two can be like, well, I can't find that for that or that for that. And it can be a little bit stressful. And doing the shows, obviously, because you're expected to impress the crowd and entertain everyone. So it can be like a lot of pressure sometimes, but I think the main key is, I think you've just got to go out there and enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then there's no point doing it, really.
Are there any downsides to burlesque?
It can be very cliquey, and it can be very bitchy sometimes. A lot of people I know just like they've come into it and they don't sort of see the insides, and they're like, oh, everyone seems to be really friendly and stuff, and then like you do find a lot of people sort of like, oh, well, I don't like her because she's a little bit down than me, or her costumes are not as well made, or so it can be quite bitchy. I know a couple of performers who have quit because they've felt bullied out of it, and so it can be quite harsh sometimes.
So is it just as much like image orientated as it is the actual performance?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we all have our names, our sort of specific acts and stuff, and sometimes you can have an idea that's already been done and maybe think, well, I can do a little bit of a different take. But I mean, we've got burlesque dancers in all shapes and sizes. It's not just skinny girls. I've seen really, really large ladies do it, and they've been amazing. But burlesque isn't just sort of one thing. I mean, it ranges from like classical fan dance to a strip act to a comedy act. I even know some lads who do it, which is what it's called is boylesque. So there's like a comedy side, there's like a Gaulesque side, which is like a horror side, and there's like a classical sort of fan dance sort of area.
You mentioned there that it's quite a tough industry to be in. So how do you tackle that? How do you like confront?
I think you've got to be very self-confident, and you've got to be happy with yourself. It's the same along the lines of when somebody's being bullied, they can let it get to them, or they can just be like, well, I'm happy with myself, it's just you that's not happy with me. And then you're not going to let those people get to you, and you just sort of, if you're happy with yourself, just do what you do, and then all the comments and the negativity tends to go over your head anyway. So.
Well, as someone who has never seen a burlesque performance before, I think you're going to give us a short insight of what it's like.
Yeah.
So now giving us a special performance, introducing Mademoiselle Boo.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, investor done, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies are blue for all my life. You and me, you. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies are blue for all my life. You and me, you. You and me,
And for our next interview, this band are known for their amazing DIY ethic that has helped them break into the music industry.
With the release of their second EP, aptly titled The Second Mouses EP, the duo have a number of cool shows lined up over the next month.
They're joining us on the sofa today. It's Nathan Duff and Stephen Bargett from Mouses.
Hello.
You alright?
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. It's good to have you in the studio today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
to be here.
No problem. So we've got a few questions for you today. I hope you don't mind.
That's no.
Brilliant.
So obviously we do the emergence with Royal Blood. There's another duo in
Yeah.
Black Keys.
Yeah.
Are you really enjoying that them duos are coming like into light lately?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because with folks became like quite popular recently, so you've seen like 10-piece bands and things like that, and we've played a couple of gigs, haven't we, with like 8-piece bands and things, and then we go on just like a guitar and a drum kit, and I think sometimes it does stand out, but it's good to see like other 2-piece bands kind of breaking out, if like, because it gives hope that we're not like, it might be possible kind of thing. So yeah, it's good. It's definitely good to see that there's 2-piece bands going on.
Brilliant, sounds amazing.
So what's the response to the new EP being like then?
Yeah, it's been really good. We've been quite surprised because we managed to sell out our EP launch party at the in the beginning of March, which we weren't expecting, and that was a really good atmosphere. So it's been quite steady since then. So yeah, we're just looking forward to keep doing gigs and seeing how the rest of the year goes, and keep giving CDs away and things.
Are you enjoying like performing the new tracks then when you're playing live?
Yeah, well, they're like a year old, I think.
we wrote these tracks kind of the same time as when we did our first EP, but we're constantly kind of changed them a bit, so it's good to that we've got them out there now for people to kind of listen to, not at gigs, but I think it's made them more fun for us to play as well with them being re-released, so it kind of like feels like the new again.
And so what do you think about the music in the North East in general?
I think the music scene's really good. We played Stockton Calling at the beginning of this month as well, and we played last year, and the lineup just seems to get better every year. There's loads of amazing North East bands who we've had like been lucky enough to see them when we've been supporting other bands and things. So they're all like really close together. They go to each other's gigs and things like that. It's not very competitive. They're all kind of there to
I don't think we've really seen like a band like that we've supported or something that we haven't liked, which is pretty good. So it's just it's good that we've been able to see them all for free, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just as much as a bonus as actually playing.
Do you think like Teessides are very proud of the music scene? And obviously there's always a great turnout for gigs, small bands or big bands, whatever it is, there's always a great turnout. That's good for you, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of like local music goers, isn't it? Because we see the same people at all the gigs we go to, and there's quite a strong music scene both for the bands and people going to them as well, which is quite healthy, really, I think.
It is.
And it'll probably just keep going up, hopefully. The promoters are working hard to like get new bands going and things like that, so I think they're really important as well.
Are you familiar with many acts around here or around the North East who've got the same sort of sound as you? Would you like to play with them in the future?
I think not many that are maybe as kind of noisy. Because we'd like to play with more punk type bands, because we have been, most of the lineups we've been put on have been with kind of indie bands and things like that, and it's been difficult to find gigs with like similar style like punk, because there isn't much punk going on, I guess.
We're kind of like in the middle though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether we could play like a proper punk night, because we're not really very punk people.
Yeah, we're the least rock and roll people ever. We just like making a bit of noise, basically.
So you don't throw a TV out the window or anything for
No, we don't like.
Do you have any gig rituals before?
Usually a trip to Bandland to get some drumsticks, because I snap a couple every gig, and usually at practices as well. So we'll see them every week, and then usually just go, see you next week before our next gig. Yeah.
So what do you hope to do within the next year or the few years to come? Like, what are your dreams?
I know we'd definitely like to do more like out of town gigs, because we did like 45 gigs last year in Teesside. Well, across the year, most of them in Teesside. That was like our first year, so we're hoping to do more outside of Teesside to kind of help get the name out there, I guess, and things like that, which would be the main thing. And some good like support acts for bigger bands would be awesome as well in like bigger venues.
I'd like to play some like bigger festivals, I think, next year as well, wouldn't we?
Yeah. We did like a couple of small ones last year, and we've got some more lined up this year, but see what happens in 2016, I guess.
You're well known for your like volunteering around the area and stuff like that. Do you think that's important for bands to get involved in that type of stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. We both volunteer for a charity in Billingham called BCT Aspire, and it's basically we teach music to like children aged 8 to 13-year-old, but it's all about confidence building and teamwork and getting them to work hard at what they want to do, even if it's not music, it might be sports or something like that. But I think thinking about like the future music generation is quite important, so because they could be like headlining God knows where when they're our age, and most of them are like ridiculously good for 9-year-olds, so it's quite scary to think what they'll be like when they're our age, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting, just exciting to see where they'll be when they're our age and are older. So yeah.
Thanks for coming and seeing us. It's amazing to have you here.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you to our guests for joining us today. If you want to see more from us, keep checking the website and tune in on Wednesday for the Coach Show with Leonie and Adam.
Now we welcome back Mouses with an exclusive performance of a brand new track, Girl.
Light is on the loose again. She's generating